Hi guys, welcome to the Connecticut in Quickly podcast. Here I am, Srinath. Sorry, wasn't available for the previous game week due to some preoccupancies that I had. I had gone for a long holiday apparently post the international break. But here I am without any further delay. Let's start off with what happened in the previous game week and what is my outlook towards the future. Yeah, considering the fact that this game week for many of the FPL managers hasn't been that great. I had a personal score of 54 points and I had taken a -4 hit to bring in a couple of defenders. I had to bring in Dallas and Aspi. Both of them not delivering apparently, just getting a total of 2 points, which again sucks. I had bought in considering the fact that Leeds were playing Sheffield United, who had the worst XG conceded and the worst XG made. Considering the fact that Dallas is a very attacking player against these teams and plays particularly as a number 10 in a few of the moments. Wasn't wrong, was creating chances, Dallas, but again, did not get onto the score sheet or create an assist for any of its players, any of their players. So yeah, again, getting just a solitary 2 points, and it was even worse for Aspi. From apparently scoring six, even after the match, Sam Allardyce coming out and saying that had the strikers been converting those chances in few of the other matches rather than this match, particularly after scoring a couple, they would have been in a much better situation, which is fair apparently. So yeah, Aspi again did not get onto the scoring sheet and just getting a 0 pointer, which is again uh, not a great sign for me as an FPL manager. But good and bad. The good was again my captaincy. In the previous game week, I had captain Rafinha, who had apparently scored 8 points, which was one more than Kane. So just having him as a captain gave me a boost of 2 points over other FPL managers who had many of them who had Kane as their captain, and his effective ownership was somewhere around 150 to 160%, which is um, which is again giving me which had again giving me a boost of 2 points. But yeah, after that. But the bad, pretty much the entirety, as I had already described, Fulham happened to score against Aston Villa. Then Tottenham not performing to the heights as expected against Newcastle United. The Region just scoring just a solitary 1 pointer after the couple of goals from Newcastle team. One late in the end. Then Bale just getting a solitary 1 pointer coming on the 89th minute, which is again not a pleasing sight for any of the FPL manager. And yeah, pretty much that. Pretty much the entirety of the team not performing that well, except for Bruno Fernandes and Rafinha for that matter. Apart from Kane, of course, who just saved my game week. To be frank. So yeah, that was my review of the previous game week. Now coming to the next game week. Since there's a fixture swing, and I had discussed in other podcasts that I will be activating my wildcard post game week 31. So considering that the game week 31 has arrived and I've taken happened to take the call and activated my wildcard chip. So yeah, now I have a few puns here and there. First of all, one is Alonso. Chelsea are playing Crystal Palace, and Alonso as a player who hasn't featured in the previous game week against West Brom, and also Ben Chilwell playing in the midweek, and Emerson coming in apparently, and Alonso not featuring gives him a great chance to feature against Crystal Palace, which is a great sign because Alonso is pretty much a fullback in the mold of a Trent Alexander-Arnold or Andy Robertson. Uh, Considering the fact that he always bombs forward and gets into the box and happens to get into scoring position. So Alonso is always a very good punt. But only fear is still that he might get he might not get playing time, but the good thing with Alonso is if he doesn't feature, he does not get subbed on the 75th or the 80th or the 85th minute. So he misses the entirety of the game, and which, considering the fact that I have a few good substitutions in the form of Shaw, Lingard, Watkins. So if he doesn't feature, then I have always the question of having a Shaw come into his place. But again, Shaw is not playing against the weakest of the teams. He's playing against Tottenham. Tottenham again going forward haven't been that great, but yeah. Manchester United have been decent defensively, hence I thought to bring him in, and also Shaw has a decent run of fixtures after the Tottenham game. So yeah, so after the Tottenham game, as you can see, there's Burnley, there's Leeds, there's Liverpool, there's Aston Villa, and then there's Leicester. So out of these fixtures, maybe Leeds and Liverpool would be the fixture where I fear that the teams can be scoring, and there might not be clean sheet for the likes of Shaw or Maguire or Aaron Wan-Bissaka, but also given the fact that Leeds are an open team and Shaw got great returns against Leeds even in the reverse fixture. So Shaw can be a very good asset considering the fact that he again bombs forward, gets into the positions where he provides his crosses and gets onto positions where he is in a position to provide assists. So yeah, again an advantage of having Luke Shaw in the team, and he has performed really really well. And for the Euros, he might be the starting left back ahead of the likes of Ben Chilwell or other players. So yeah, that was the reason I bought in Alonso and Shaw for that matter. Then there's Wolves. Wolves is certainly simply because of the fact that I have Wolves have a good set of fixtures in the next few game weeks. Again, considering that they play Fulham, Sheffield United, then Burnley, then West Brom in the next 4 game weeks, which are probably the best run of fixtures any team perhaps could have had. So yeah, that is the reason why I bought in Connor Cody, and Connor Cody has been quite getting in forward during the set pieces and just standing just outside the box. Um, that's the exact reason why I thought to bring him in. Um, yeah, so Wolves defender, one of Wolves defender is always a plus considering they have good run of fixtures as I explained before. And then I have Mendy. Mendy again for apparent reasons. Chelsea have a very good set of fixtures again. Um, they face Crystal Palace, then Brighton, then West Ham United, then Fulham. Except for West Ham, maybe all of these teams are not going are not great that great going forward. So again, even post the Man City game, they have decent run of fixtures: Arsenal, Aston Villa, and Leicester. Uh, so yeah, I can bank upon Chelsea keeping clean sheets in the near run. So Mendy is again very good personnel to have ahead of these game weeks. And then if I ever want to change, then I have Fraser Foster, who has been starting ahead of McCarthy in the recent few game weeks. He just has a blank in game week 33. I just need a change in game week 36 where Chelsea play Fulham. So where Chelsea play Man City and Southampton play Fulham. So I can easily bring him in instead of Mendy without making any further transfers. So yeah, considering the attack, one team I'd like to focus on is Arsenal. Arsenal again haven't set the stage on fire, but yes, their set of fixtures in the given matches is really good. Their next two fixtures is against Sheffield United and Fulham. You can always bank Arsenal at least scoring one or two goals against these teams, even though they are quite bad going forward. So yeah, that is the exact reason why I bought him in. Even Everton are prone to conceding goals, and Newcastle and West Brom. Then these sum up to a decent run of fixtures till at least game week 35. So having an Arsenal asset, especially in the defense, Rob Holding has started to feature in matches again. So that again gives me an edge. He played the entirety of the match against Fulham, uh, against I beg your pardon, Liverpool, and then meaning that he is again back into full fitness after missing out on the few games against from game week 26 to 30. So yeah, these are again decent run of fixtures, and Rob Holding has been performing really well when he's fit. So yeah, and even Saka, considering the fact that Saka is one of the vital cogs in the Arsenal attack. Without anything that co- any good attack that coming from Arsenal is generally from Saka only. So that gives him a great potential for clean sheets. Oh, sorry, I beg your pardon, for assists and even goals. He gets into those scoring areas if the likes of Lacazette is not there in the box. Then Liverpool is again Liverpool do have a great run of fixtures. Trent has been performing really well, at least in the Premier League, not in the Champions League against Real Madrid, but he always has potential when it comes to attack. So, and given the fact that they are facing Aston Villa, then Leeds, then Newcastle, then Manchester United, then Southampton, which is pretty much, and even post that West Brom, then Burnley and Crystal Palace. All these matches for Liverpool are pretty easy, except for the Manchester United one maybe. So again, which gives them a great potential for a clean sheet. And the fact that I had to bring in Jota has been performing really, really well. And gets onto those scoring positions, gets into the box, takes a shot. So, yes, I feel that this is the time to jump onto the Jota bandwagon. And Salah is obviously again one of the FPL stalwarts. Uh, if Jota doesn't score, Salah definitely does. So yeah, that is the rationale behind having Jota and Salah. And then coming on to Sterling. Sterling is facing Leeds United, and man, Leeds United are the worst defense. No matter what, I don't go by numbers, except for maybe Sheffield United or a Newcastle. Leeds have the worst set of defensive numbers, and Leeds are prone to conceding goals. It cannot be the one all draw which we saw in the reverse fixture. So I presume that this is going to be a scoring match, and uh, I just have this gut feeling, no, nothing else, that Sterling will feature against Leeds United. Maybe De Bruyne would be rested for the Champions League quarterfinal against Dortmund, which is not over yet, because the score is still 2-1, and Dortmund do have a lot to say in this tie. So De Bruyne might have this chance of getting rested. So not bringing him in is the reason. Then of course. Then there's Kane and Iheanacho. Iheanacho has been performing really well, scoring a hat trick just a couple of game weeks back. So yes, the only problem is that Madison is getting on to full fitness. So uh, that is the only fear that I have with Iheanacho. But again, he whenever he does, he gets onto those poaching areas, and then Vardy takes up that number 10 role, gets behind the ball and provides his assist. So yeah, Iheanacho is pretty much a bet that I have taken. If he doesn't perform, then obviously I'll be transferring him out because one of the other reasons why I brought him in was that Antonio hasn't passed the fitness test and pretty much looks like a doubt for the next 4 or 5 game weeks easily. So yeah, that is one of the reasons. And then Bamford again, Leeds do not have great run of fixtures, so having Bamford is quite the risk. Hence, Iheanacho. And considering the fact that he just has an ownership of 6.1%, which is again a differential if you can count that. So yes, those are the reasons why I bought in Iheanacho to have a good a few rank rises if he performs. Yeah, that was pretty much the end of it. Then there's Lingard. Lingard is facing Leicester. That's the exact reason why I've benched him. No other reason, but in the future game weeks, Lingard does have a decent run of fixtures. Since West Ham are facing Leicester, they are facing Newcastle. Then there's Chelsea again, which is not easy. Then there's Burnley, there's Everton, then there's Brighton. So all these matches, except for the Chelsea one and the Leicester one, maybe are quite on the trickier side of the things. But apart from that, I don't think any of the fixtures are that hard. So yes, that is the reason why I have bought in Jesse Lingard. Hopefully, he does well for me. Um, so that is it, guys. That is pretty much the end of the wildcard draft that I had prepared, and hope you guys enjoyed it. I presume this was a pretty long video. Maybe I managed to cover on majority of the pointers. Do let me know if there's any other things that you are considering. So yeah, thank you for tuning in, guys, and hope you have a great game week and a great ending to the FPL season. Yeah, thank you.